Hey, it's your man Durante back at it again with another episode of Keep Talking. Before I start off, I want to give a good shout out to all my subscribers and everybody that's been commenting and interacting with my page. Um, it means a lot, and it's definitely helping out with me getting more exposure and more followers, more subscribers and stuff. So I want to give a good shout out to you guys. You guys are amazing, and it's definitely giving me more motivation to keep going on with these videos. And as you guys can see behind me, my whole setup is changing, and pretty soon it's going to be a whole backdrop. I'm gonna have a whole new setup, and I know I've been preaching that now for a while, but it's all still in the works. But I got a lot to talk about today, a whole lot actually. This whole Omicron variant that's out here, it's all over the world now. Started off in South Africa. I got that to talk about. I'm gonna recap all the NFL games that happened yesterday, and some of the NBA action happened last night. Steph Curry went off again. I talked about basketball and how it's been evolving with the three-point shot and everything. I'm going to tie that into LeBron and how the Lakers are doing, and definitely how the Nets are doing, and how I don't think they are a title contender whatsoever. I'm going to also touch back up on the supply chain issues and how they seem to be getting worse and not getting better whatsoever as well. And we also got to talk about the state of the country heading into 2022. We got the midterm elections coming up. We have a lot going on next year, and a lot of people look at 2022 as a year of recovery, especially for the economy and stuff, and I just really don't see that. I feel like the economy is getting in a worse state, and there's not really too much that we, can do. But starting off, a couple of days ago, I was out with my family, and I got a ping on my phone about this new variant that was discovered in South Africa. It was originally it was called the B11529 variant, and they had found just a few dozen cases, and they were linked to South Africa and its surrounding countries, Botswana, I think Zimbabwe, all those neighboring countries around South Africa. And originally, without it having a name, they just thought that it was, an average run-of-the-mill variant that had more protein spikes in it than the Delta variant. And if you guys aren't familiar, the protein spikes on a virus are what allow it to latch on to your white blood cells and everything in your body, and make your immune system kind of attack itself. It's kind of what the flu does, and that's what COVID is. That's why COVID is so infectious, because it has more protein spikes on it than the average flu cells do. So a couple of days pass, and B11529 has a name now, and it is Omicron. I've never heard that word whatsoever. It actually sounds like some weird, insidious, like laboratory somewhere, But this virus has already spread from South Africa to Australia, Canada, Belgium, and they got cases of it now in Israel. And Israel has taken the most drastic measures out of all the countries so far. They have actually closed their borders to all foreign travelers and all flights in and out of Israel. So they're trying to nip this in the bud. Israel leads the world in booster shots and vaccines administered per capita. So it's no secret that they do not want a pandemic spiraling out of control in their country. Austria has also gone into lockdown. The Delta variant has been ravaging Austria, Romania, and Germany now for some time. And with this new variant now, it's just going to make things even worse. I just watched some videos about Germany and how their healthcare system is stretched to the limit, and how now they are making choices between life and death. And that's what this virus is teaching us now, that the healthcare system in America, the healthcare system in Europe, in the UK, NATO, they weren't equipped for a pandemic. And I believe that we have been caught with our pants down, and it doesn't seem like we've been learning our lessons. I don't believe that travel restrictions are going to do much. It's kind of like putting a Band-Aid over a gunshot wound, you know? You're just kicking the can down the road, if you will, at this point. But with this variant out in the world now, the stocks have basically plummeted because there's fear that with another lockdown coming up, there won't be much consumer spending. A lot of people will be sitting at home, and there won't be much revenue going through the economy. So hopefully we can get our vaccines tweaked, or this variant can just be another one that just comes along and doesn't cause too much harm. But from what they're saying, the infection rate is 500% more than the Delta variant, which is alarming, because the Delta variant apparently was 3 times worse than COVID itself. So let me know about y'all's thoughts down below in the video, in the comment section. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. You know, it helps out the channel, and it definitely keeps up the morale. I know a lot of people said that my football predictions last week were pretty accurate. Shout out to Big E. I mean, I called a lot of things. I put it on Twitter, put it on Facebook, but I called the Raiders over the Cowboys. I just felt like that was a game the Cowboys were going to lose. It's a game that the Cowboys lose. And like Stephen A. Smith says, and like I said last week, what can go wrong will go wrong with the Cowboys. A lot of times they get 7-1, 8-1, and find some way to end up 8-8 or 9-7. Or, I mean, at the very most, you know, they make the first round of the playoffs and get blown out. And that's just the way that they have always been, especially the last 25 years. You know, these aren't your dad's Cowboys. The Rams and Packers, I said that Matt Stafford was not that much more of an upgrade over Jared Goff. And it's been showing. Matt Stafford is a small incremental upgrade over Jared Goff. But the thing about the Rams is they did not give up heaven and earth and all those picks for an incremental upgrade. Jared Goff took him to a Super Bowl, you know, and lost in a very low-scoring game to Tom Brady. They went to pick up Matt Stafford to win the big game. And lately, Matt Stafford can't even win the small games. His record against opponents that are 500 or better, he's 1-4 against guys that are 500 or better. And that's saying a lot, because he has arguably the best defense in all of pro football, and he has some of the best weapons in all of pro football. He has Odell Beckham. He has Van Jefferson. Yes, I know that Robert Woods went down with a torn ACL, but he still has Cooper Kupp, who leads the NFL in receptions. Most targeted wide receiver in all of football. 2 good tight ends and a plethora of running backs, and Matt Stafford cannot get the job done. So it begs the question, were the Lions just bad and he was a talented player on a bad team? Or has he just been an above average player who was on a bad team and stat padded? Because the first 5 years of his career, he was throwing to the best receiver, arguably of all time, in Calvin Johnson. After Calvin Johnson left, his numbers definitely dipped off. He didn't have another 5,000-yard season. Just got to keep that one in mind. The Ravens last night played the Browns, and it was ugly. Lamar threw 4 interceptions. Baker was beat to hell. And if he wasn't beat to hell before the game, he definitely was afterwards. It just seems that Baker Mayfield is just an average quarterback who needs everything around him to go right for him to have a chance to win a game. Some people have called him a game manager. I think he's a little bit more than a game manager. He's a guy that you can give the car keys to, but you can't let him drive too fast. You know, you can't give him a Lamborghini. He has to drive a Toyota Corolla. You know, we've seen what happens. Oh, goodness. We've seen what happens when you give him too much. Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham, all these receivers, and he just makes mistakes. He makes the wrong throw at the wrong time when you don't need it the most. Me personally, I believe that Case Keenum is a better option. Case Keenum took the Vikings 13-3 a couple of years ago, and he's a low turnover guy. His ceiling is low, but the floor is high with Case Keenum. You know, he won't go out there and win you the game, but you know, very seldomly he'll do stuff to lose the game. You know, he just won't do enough to win. I also believe that the Giants are on the up and up after a good win against the Eagles. Daniel Jones is playing better. He's limiting the turnovers. Last year, he was a turnover machine. But under Joe Judge, I believe that this offense is getting around. Freddie Kitchens was calling the plays ever since we fired Jason Garrett, Coach Clapp. We got to get Saquon going. We got to get some resemblance of a running game because right now, everybody's just keying on Daniel Jones. They're teeing off. He has no time to throw the ball, and when he does throw the ball, it's a 50-50. Most of the time, it's a jump ball. When he has time, he steps in and throws some very accurate passes, but we have a lot of drops too. And for us to have all this money invested in our receiving core, we shouldn't be having this many drops. Galladay got all that money over the offseason. We need more production out of him. Evan Ingram, if he's going to be a top tight end, he needs to be a top tight end week in and week out. He can't be a top tight end 1 week and be an average tight end or just not even existent on the field whatsoever for weeks at a time. I also believe that we definitely need to spend our next draft strictly on the offensive and defensive line. Our secondary is probably our strongest asset of the whole team. Yesterday they got 3 interceptions. James Bradbury is playing like a Pro Bowler. It's been a long time since the Giants have had a shutdown corner, and now we have a guy now that can take away a whole side of the field. And that is definitely a luxury for a defense, especially when you're ahead by 7, 10, 14 points. You can tee off on the other quarterback. And that's really what the Giants have been missing since their Super Bowl runs. 2011, 2007, when they were at their height, when they won the Super Bowls, they had 4 guys on the line that could get after the quarterback, and they had competent defensive backs. Corey Webster, R.W. McQuarters, you know, they had ball hawks back there. And I believe that they're starting to get the resemblance of that makings of a championship defense. Now, their offense, on the other hand, like I said, they're a work in progress. And with Daniel Jones, especially cutting down on the turnovers, I definitely believe that's going to be a good thing for the New York Giants moving forward. Steph Curry played last night against the Clippers, and he clipped their ass. I mean, 36 points, 6 assists, 6 threes. I've never really seen a guy who can come off screens and just pop like he does. You know, everybody knows he's the best shooter of all time. There's not much of a debate about it. Steph Curry has limitless range. Some of the shots he was hitting last night, I mean, we say this about him every week. The guy just takes 2 steps across half court, and you got to respect him. Logo threes, right? I mean, he's hitting guys off the dribble. He's getting a lane with the floaters, and his game is uncanny, and it's very finesse. And for a guy age 33 or older, he's leading the NBA in scoring by a large margin, averaging over 30 points. A lot of people are saying that he could never do better than the 2015-2016 season. But I believe that this season right now is not only better than that season, I believe this is the greatest offensive season that anybody's ever had. I'm not going to take into account anything before 1970. Wilt Chamberlain records do not count. There's no one ever going to average 52 points and 25 rebounds in a season. Again, that's just arbitrary. But Steph Curry right now, his records, the way that he's shooting, the distance that he is going to put between the next best three-point shooter are going to be Wilt Chamberlain-like. So you just got to tip your hat to a guy like that who is week in and week out coming out there, in his 13th, 14th season, age 33, and he's out there running around off screens, and guys can't even stay with him, And these third quarter blowouts that the Warriors be having, man, it's something. It really is. Golden State is definitely going to be a team to contend for a title this year. I believe that barring the Lakers and maybe the Phoenix Suns, there's not really a team in the West that can stand in their way. And Brooklyn does not look like the team in the East that's going to come out of the East. I believe the Bulls, the Bucks, the Heat, and the Celtics are going to get it all together here soon, honestly. But the NBA has definitely changed with the three-point shot. And that's, you get hot for a game, 2 games, 3 games, a series. You never know who can be the NBA champion. But, hey guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be putting up more videos. Trying to put out 2 a week. Hit up these talking points and keep talking with everybody. This supply chain stuff that I've been harping on now for, my last 4 or 5 videos, it's really not getting much better. I've been noticing shelves getting increasingly emptier and emptier. I work at a department store, I work at Walmart, and there's some things that I've seen that have been going out of stock and just haven't come back in stock yet. A lot of the cleaning products that specifically kill COVID-19, they have it on the label. I see those not coming in as much, like if at all. I'm not seeing a whole lot of just normal unscented Clorox bleach. I'm seeing a lot of the scented stuff. I'm not seeing a whole lot of the normal, just unscented Clorox bleach. I don't know what you guys are seeing in y'all's areas, but around here in Eastern Virginia, haven't seen a lot of that. And gas around here has surprisingly gone down a little bit. I don't know if that's attributed to Biden releasing that 50 million gallons of oil or not, but gas has definitely gone down. At one point, it was steadily sitting at about $3.20, $3.25. And I know a lot of people around here, the locals, were definitely letting everybody know about it on Facebook. So with the supply chain, I haven't heard too much more about truckers, the trucker shortage getting any better, so I can assume that it's still a looming problem. I don't think that we hired 300,000 truckers in the last 2 weeks. I've been seeing that the container crisis over in California is getting increasingly worrisome, where they've had to shut down the port because the entire port was full. All the overflow, they've had to send ships back out to sea. They couldn't just dock because the docks are full. The harbors over there are all full. And with all these superstorms that's been coming off the Pacific Ocean, they've been having to try to capture these containers that have fallen off these ships. And there's really nobody over there to help get them out of the water, because once they go in the water, most of the stuff inside of them is deemed useless. A lot of electronics, a lot of furniture, a lot of bedding. Once that goes to the ocean, there's not much you can really do to salvage that kind of equipment. So I did hear some rumors, you know, don't quote me, but I did hear some rumors that PlayStation 5s are going to be even harder to find next year because a lot of them just aren't coming out of Japan anymore and China. You know, they're not manufacturing them because of the shortages over there of workers and the rolling blackouts. And a lot of them aren't sitting on those container ships either. You know, they just haven't really been being made. Meanwhile, Xbox and Microsoft, they've been pushing a lot more, chugging along because they have more American-made equipment. Microsoft themselves have really been pushing a lot of the all digital stuff, so that they don't have to worry about the discs or the microchips and all this other stuff. So I'm not really too sure what the state of the country will look like this time next year. Currently, we stand more divided now than I think we were in the late 60s. At least in the 60s, there was like a line in the sand. Now there's not really a line in the sand. It's more so the line, like, kind of like the line on a sidewalk when there is the sun at noon, and the sun at 1 o'clock, the sun at 2 o'clock, the sun at 3 o'clock. It's always moving forward and backwards, and every day it kind of resets. Every couple of weeks it resets. You know, one thing happens and America reacts, and then 2 weeks later no one cares about it. You know, cop shoots unarmed black person, and then America reacts, and then 2 weeks later no one cares about it. It's a cycle that I hope that we can break out of and advocate 24/7 and not just be, you know, BLM today or tomorrow or any of that stuff. You know, we have to be out here supporting everybody at all times, not just when it's convenient. But with that being said, I do want to give a shout out to my guy Big E, Dice Man, you know, for supporting me on this channel. You know, I want to give a shout out to Kid Kells. You know, go check out his new EP. Go check out my guy Malik and Chris Coop. They got out a brand new album. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on Apple Music. You can find it here on YouTube too. I put the link in the description below. And guys, comment below on what you think about the video, you know? And just like every other week, man, I tell you guys, keep talking. I'm out.